Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to the FPL Duo. And we are here for the Kneejerk reaction to Gameweek 3. And we're also here for, obviously, to look ahead to Gameweek 4 and what our teams will be looking like, obviously, after the international break. But yeah, here we are, guys, again. And I have to say, just before I get into this video, I think it's another miserable day for non-Haaland owners again. Just to say out there, obviously Haaland scoring the back-to-back hat-trick. Massive achievement and feat for him, and also for those who have owned Haaland from Gameweek 1 has been a massive success. But obviously before we get into this, also make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more, and leave a comment if you wish. And obviously Huss is not able to join us for the stream. He's currently busy for the foreseeable next few weeks, so he won't be in most of these streams up until obviously when we return from international break and resume to FPL again. He should be back by then. Obviously, until then, you've got me, guys, to do the content for you and deliver what we have on to offer. But yeah, let's get into it. So I do have Huss's team that he did go with, obviously, with his starting 11 and bench. So I'll go through that briefly before I move on to my team. So starting off in goal, he does have Henderson. Now, obviously, Henderson doesn't keep a clean sheet, although he did get 4 points for making 6 saves. So he got 2 points for the 6 saves and for the minutes he played. So 4 points isn't so bad. I think if a goalkeeper does get save points, then it kind of makes up for not having a clean sheet in a way. So that's a nice, I'll say, a nice return for no clean sheet. So let's move on to his defense. So start with Trent. He could have possibly had a massive haul, but his goal was disallowed for offside during that Man United game earlier on. But he did come off though around 75 minutes, which I think is a very good bonus because it seems like Trent's not playing 90-minute football, and if Liverpool keep a clean sheet up to that moment, then it's also a nice benefit to have him come off, I think, slightly earlier than 90 minutes. So yeah, it's a nice nice return again for Trent owners, and I think that's Liverpool's 3rd clean sheet as well. So if you do have a Liverpool defender, either it's Trent or Virgil van Dijk or Robertson, it's been a very good success so far. I'm just checking if he didn't get any bonus points, Trent, so he only needs for 6 points, which again, good result. Moving on to Saliba. Now this game was quite interesting because I did say it's going to be a tough one for Brighton, but also tough for Arsenal at home, and it did end up 1-1. Now the game probably would have been in a different way if Declan Rice wasn't sent off for kicking the ball, well, tapping the ball away from one of the Brighton players, and therefore getting his 2nd yellow and being sent off. I think Arsenal with 10 men down did make it a bit more challenging for them to get back on the front foot. But yeah, that game did end 1-1 surprisingly, and they've already dropped points, whereas on the other hand, Man City haven't. So that leads a very interesting story to tell before the international break. But yeah, Saliba 2 points, and that is Arsenal's 1st clean sheet white of the season. Moving on to the last defender, that is Robinson. So yeah, he didn't keep a clean sheet either. Well, technically, no team kept a clean sheet apart from Liverpool during this game week. So no clean sheets were kept. Only Liverpool were the ones to keep theirs against Man United, but everyone else scored in their teams. But Robertson, on the other hand, does get an attacker return again. That's another assist for him. He did pick up a yellow card though, unfortunately, which leaves him on only the 4 points for this week. So not as much as he got from last week, where he also got a bonus point. It's just the 4 points. But I guess the way my team has gone, I'll take anything at this moment because it is a tough one. Moving on to the midfield four. So Huss has gone with Diego Jota. Only gets 3 points. Very unfortunate. He wasn't part of the action during that 3-0 win over Man United. Literally, they were in control as expected during that game. It was a bit unfortunate for Jota not to get on the scoreboard, obviously, but his teammate Luis Diaz and Salah were the ones that paid off for this week in terms of Liverpool assets. Moving on to Rodgers, who I didn't watch the game, but I'm surprised to see Rodgers only have 2 points. I thought he would get a return out of that fixture, where Aston Villa went on to win 2-1 against Leicester. And yeah, it's a bit, I suppose, underwhelming considering how he played against Arsenal. I thought he would at least get something out of that Leicester game, but it ended up being Onana again, getting the return over Rodgers. So that does make things interesting in terms of that midfielder pick that we've gone for. Let's move on to Saka. Again, he continues his run of returns. He gets another assist from obviously Havertz scoring the goal and Saka assisting him. He did get a bonus 1 point on top of that as well, which leaves him with 6 points. So again, another good result for those who own Saka. Maybe not as much as obviously Palmer in the previous game week, but Saka has been consistently returning so far. And finally, moving on to Smith Rowe, who does end up blanking. He did play a little bit more minutes. He played about 70 plus this time. So yeah, it's very weird result, 1-1 against Ipswich. I know Ipswich were home, but kind of expected more for Fulham. Maybe I was a bit FOMO for Fulham assets, but yeah, surprised to see not many returners from the Fulham attack, including Smith Rowe, who was one of the most transferred in players this week for that fixture. But moving on to the front three that Huss has gone with. So Isak, I think, has redeemed himself just about. Newcastle going to win 2-1, and Isak claims the winning goal in that game, scoring it. He also gets a bonus 3 on top of that, which leaves him on 9 points. So, yeah, it's a bit of a to do now. What do you do with Isak now after that goal? Do you keep him or do you still sell him? Even though he's been a bit underwhelming, it's a bit hard to tell now because obviously that return does change things, I think, for a few managers, but it does make it harder now if you want to keep or get rid of Isak at that price. Let's move on to Wood first before I move on to Haaland. So Wood, again, he scores his goal, gets the bonus 3. Nottingham Forest end up drawing against Wolves, surprisingly again. I thought Nottingham Forest would win that game comfortably, but no, it was a draw. And yeah, again, Wood has been a good run of form. I mean, he did blank in Game Week 2 against Southampton, but he did score. That's 2 goals now for Wood so far, and not a bad 6.1 million price player at 7.9% ownership. So a good differential for Huss in the team. Just quickly moving on to his bench. So not really much to talk about apart from one player, and that is Eze, who gets a double haul of 10 points. He did score a goal in that equaliser against Chelsea and was rewarded with the bonus 3. So yeah, if you did manage to hold on for Eze, well done. I do apologise for those in deadline stream because I did recommend, I think, benching Eze for that fixture because I knew it was going to be tough over other players who did blank. That's pretty much hindsight for my picks again. But yeah, a bit unfortunate to obviously have 10 points on the bench if you did bench Eze for this game week. Apart from that, Aina does blank, obviously, in that Wolves game. And Vardy Martin didn't play. And Barco is loaned. He's loaned to Sevilla, so he's not going to be in the season anymore. But in terms of the game week, Huss did pick the right captain, and that was Haaland. 3 goals again, back-to-back hat tricks with the bonus 3 points as well, maximising obviously his potential of return. And an unbelievable result. I didn't think Haaland would score a hat trick again. That does leave non-Haaland though losing a bit of a tangent and predicament now do we switch over to Haaland? Do we reshape the team? And do we use the wild card after the international break as well? Because I think that's going to be on some people's minds, including mine, of what we do with Haaland now, because it seems like he's going to follow this run of form consistently now. I mean, that's his 1 goal in his first game week, 3 goals against Ipswich, now against West Ham, and he has Brentford next after, obviously, international break on the 14th of September. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens after that international break of what we do with our teams, especially for the non-Haaland owners, in particular me as well. But overall, for us, that is a massive green arrow, 1 million jump up to 1.5 mil, and 81 game week points. So, yeah, a good result for us, I think. Could have been better with Eze if he did play him instead of one of the midfield three who all 3 of them blanked. But again, it's the fixtures and the form that you obviously go by the player. But yeah, apart from that though, his team did really well in comparison to mine. So let's move on, guys, well, obviously, before I move on, let me answer a few of your comments in the chat because there's a few of them there, but I'll quickly slide over so you can see my team on the screen. So the first comment on the stream is from Tricky Trees. Welcome. It was all going so well until Salah showed up. 76 points, overall rank of 181k. Yeah, there's a bit of I think Salah is trying to keep up with Haaland, and so far he's managing to do that. Just about returning, not very early on in games though, really late, or not really late, but you know what I mean, second half, a few opportunities here and there for Salah, but yeah, he is sort of keeping up with Haaland, and I think that's why it's nice to have Haaland and Salah in the draft. So you have the best of both worlds from both of those good players. Would you move Saka to Salah for free and maybe get Saka back in game week 6, wildcard, or Barker to Trent? 1 free transfer in each scenario. I mean, I quite like Saka still as an option, but I've seen like the likes of Cole Palmer could be a better option for Saka, or even Salah, because he is outscoring. He's been outscored Saka a lot, so that could be an avenue to go down. And yeah, maybe get back Saka in game week 6, wildcard. Depending on how obviously Saka is and how Palmer and Salah do, but yeah, I'll probably move Saka to Salah for free and get Saka back in game week 6 if you plan to work hard then, instead of doing Barker to Trent. Even though Trent, I would say, or Huss would say, definitely bring Trent in, because he could have possibly had a nice haul today if his goal wasn't disallowed. But yeah, I'd probably move Saka to Salah for free. I definitely want Salah in the team. Which team is Huss playing for over the international break? Which team is Huss playing for over the international break? I'm not sure really. Trees on that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, you have to wait and see when he comes back to answer that question. Sisong K, I hope I said that right. Captaining Salah this week was a risk. Yeah, I did say it before the deadline stream. Possibly risk or reward for captaining Salah. Kind of wish I did now for my team, but yeah, you don't know what you're going to get from that Man United fixture, but maybe in the back of my head I did. So I did expect Man United to lose, and obviously Salah loves playing against Man United as well. So yeah, I wish I went there instead of the captain I did go with. Harry in the chat, shambles week 48 points. I'm guessing you are a non-Haaland owner as well, Harry, judging by the amount of points you've got. this week. Dan the man, hello Dan, how you doing? Salah captain saved my game week, 85 points, 75k now with 3 free transfers going into the break. Yeah, you're nice to set up now, Dan. Well done for the Salah captain. Again, it did save us, or it did save you this week again, because Haaland again getting the hat trick did look like daunting, and he could have possibly had 4 in that game, which is crazy. But yeah, it's hard to keep up when you're a non-Haaland owner. Benny G says, do you reckon James could be a good punt for game week 4 if he's back now Gusto is out? No, I don't think so. No, until I see more of obviously Chelsea, it's just I'm not a fan of going for a defender or a goalkeeper. I'd rather go for an attacker for in terms of Chelsea assets. So you just don't know what you're going to get from a defender, especially when Chelsea don't keep many clean sheets either. Since Reece James has suffered with many injuries from his ACL, he hasn't really recovered, and he's not been the same player that he was obviously seasons ago. So yeah, I don't think it's a punt I'll be worth going for game week 4, especially even though Gusto is out, I still wouldn't go there. Good evening, Mr. T. 89 points, 172k overall. Wood earning Isaac as he came through. Yeah, that's very nice returns there. All out. Very well done, Mr. T. And Eze on the bench is paying for fast. Yeah, that's the only thing for Eze being on the bench, which kind of was the drawback. But apart from that, it was a 9 out of 10 fastest team. Mr. T says, got to keep Isaac. They have a leaky balls next. Yeah, looks like we're persuaded to keep Isaac now after him scoring that winning goal against Spurs. Very interesting result, though. I thought I was expecting a lot more goals in that game, but I think it's a good win for Newcastle and for us Isaac owners as well. Who isn't getting João Pedro next week? Yeah, it's looking good. Obviously, Brighton have Ipswich at home. So, yeah, Brighton assets are going to be very popular for after the international break. Fingers crossed no one like a João Pedro or someone amongst those lines gets injured. Or obviously there's flags in our teams after the international break, which seems it's really weird having an international break so early on in the season. True T says, Welbeck might have been a mistake there. I mean, Welbeck, João Pedro, even the Dingra or Minta. There's a lot of assets. Miss Homer even. There's so many options you could go for in that Brighton attack. And I think either any one of those 5 or 4 players could potentially return for you. You just have to be fortunate to be the one on the receiving end of the player. But Welbeck's had a good start of the season for for Brighton. I wouldn't say it's a mistake, Tricky Trees. It's just there's going to be a lot of variation in who's going to score which week and whatnot. Because Diogo Jota, for example, didn't return this week; he did last week, and Salah and Luis Diaz got the glory. So it is going to be the same for some of the players we got. Dan the man says, the moment he stops scoring hat-tricks, the more it'll pay off going non-Haaland, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we can hold off and see what he does. I keep saying this every week, but surely he can't score another hat-trick and make it 3 in a row. I mean, that would just be unreal. I don't think any football player has done 3 hat-tricks consecutively as much as back-to-back as well, but yeah, it will be interesting what Haaland does in the next fixture, which obviously they have a nice fixture against Brentford and it's a home one. So yeah, Brentford are pretty strong though. Maybe they will hold back Haaland, who knows? But at the moment, Haaland seems to be unstoppable. And it's a bit scary, of course. Patrick in the chat, hi Jordan, played my wild card and got 96 points this week, so I got from 1.4 rank to 266k. Very well done, Patrick. You're in a good position just before the international break. On 96, that's a very high scoring week. Pete says it's like on 9. I'm showing 6. Yeah, it's the bonus points haven't been updated, Peeps, because it says 6, but it's really 9 because you got the bonus 3 awarded to him, but it's yet to be added. Roman 76 points this week. I'm thinking of removing Gibbs White for game week 4. Yeah, I mean not the Forest. Fixtures do swing a little bit for them, and it looks like Gibbs White hasn't been that fortunate as obviously as a returner for Nottingham Forest. I mean, he did score a goal against Southampton, but apart from that, yeah, he hasn't had anything else. And plus, they got Liverpool next. But then the fixtures do swing after game week 4 a little bit. Roman Jarvis has got 6.8 million for midfielder to place the fight without thinking maybe Madueke or Matoma. Anybody I'm missing? I wouldn't be going for Madueke. Absolutely not. I wouldn't recommend him at all, even though he scored the hat-trick in the previous game week. I'm still not a fan of Chelsea midfielders like him. I prefer a Palmer or a Nicholas Jackson up front in terms of Chelsea assets at the moment. No other player suits me for Chelsea at this current moment that I like. Matoma, on the other hand, I think, yeah, that's a good one to go for. Brighton are a favourable, obviously, option in terms of that midfield that you could possibly have. In terms of others, though, you could go for Onana for Aston Villa. He has Everton at home. Everton not look good so far, or Rodgers. His teammate, or even Bailey. One of those three look good. Even Smith Rowe. He doesn't play 90-minute football, but he's still a good asset at the price. He's still a good asset for the price he's at 5.6, I think. But there is a few, I think, around that margin that you could possibly go for, Roman. 81 is the strongest week I've seen with Haaland. Congrats. Yeah, Haaland owners are celebrating this week. I think they've won this game week over the non-Haaland owners again. But yeah, that's your comments for the moment, guys. Let me just talk through briefly my team, and then we can move on to what my team looks like for game week 4. So starting off in goal, I felt like this was pretty unfortunate, but I did have Flecken. It looked like he was going to keep a clean sheet until last minute Southampton managed to clip a goal and the clean sheet was wiped. Although Flecken did make 5 good saves. One off of getting an extra point again to get 4 points, but only rewarded with 3. Obviously, moving on to the defence, there's no clean sheets at all. I think Dan Burns scored an own goal, so he ended up on 0. Pedro Porro obviously ended up on 1 because of conceding 2 against Newcastle. And we spoke about Robertson with his attack and return with the assist, but also getting the yellow card, which ends up on 4 points. Midfield 4, we've got Saka, we've spoken about getting another assist and bonus 1. Rewarded with 6. Rodgers blanks with 2 points. Same as Jota, even though Liverpool won 3-0. He did get a clean sheet point though and was substituted off 75 minutes. Salah though claims all the glory, I think, in that game, scoring 1, assisting 2, and getting a clean sheet point, as well as the bonus points. I think he got 3 bonus as well, which gives him 17. So if you did captain Salah, you did pretty much match what Haaland earned from his hat trick. So well done to Salah captainers. He did save you this week. Watkins, who I did bring in alongside Rodgers too. only gets the assist. I'm worried now for Ollie Watkins' minutes because he only played 60 in that game and Duran came on. So I'm afraid Watkins potentially might be a rotation risk. As mad as that is, I'm not sure with Emery how he's going to manage Watkins' minutes is because he seems to be playing an hour or so of football, and it's so nice fixtures for Aston Villa. If Watkins can get back to his good form again, I just don't see him returning as much as obviously when he was playing 90-minute football, which is a worry. But we have to wait and see. Muniz, who was my captain pick, did not pay off at all. He indeed blanked and only gave me 2 points. He also didn't play for 90 minutes, which I expected. He only played 78. And Fulham went on to draw against Ipswich 2. So, yeah, only 1 goal from Fulham. Very underwhelming. I was expecting a lot more from that game. But, yeah, the captaincy didn't pay off for the fixture. That went with it. And then obviously is that we've spoken about redemption for him for scoring the goal, which led on to Newcastle winning that game. And obviously him getting 9 points. Claiming all the bonus points as well. So, yeah, a bit of relief. But there's not really much that happened in my team in terms of returns. It was very lacklustre apart from Salah, obviously. And is that getting most of the glory in the team? In terms of the bench, I'm glad Gordon did blank because I did bench him, which in this sense it did pay off, I guess. On the other hand, there's Davies with 7 points. I did speak about his attacking threat. He did get an assist. He also got bonus points as well, even though they ended up in the draw. But he played really well in defence for him, so he deserved it, I think, for that play against Fulham. And finally, Kwanzaa didn't start in that Liverpool game. So overall, it's been a very bad game week for me. The overall rank has dropped drastically. I'm now 4.5 million, red arrow. Still early days, but there's a lot to catch up on because obviously Haaland has obviously took off, and obviously without even owning him, I'm really behind in terms of points, especially not catching Salah, which even leaves me further behind everyone else now. So I've got to be very wise with my captain picks now instead of going a little bit off the template a bit. Maybe go a bit more on the template in terms of captaincies where the points are mostly going to be at, I think. But 54 points for this game week, so it's an average game week, not that bad, but it has been another high scoring one if you've had Haaland in your team. So that is pretty much game week 3 out of the way. So let us move on to the interesting part of the stream where we talk about game week 4 and what the team looks like. So bear in mind, guys, let me just pull it up on the screen. So here you are. Here is what my team looks like for game week 4. So in goal, I've got Flecken. Now I'm restricted with Flecken because I don't have another playing goalkeeper. So he's going to have to play against Man City. We'll see how that goes because it's not looking good in terms of a clean sheet possibly for Brentford, but hopefully it's not a negative for Fleck, and hopefully he can make some good saves again, because I do think he's a good goalkeeper for Brentford. Back 3, we've got Robinson, who's got West Ham at home. Nice fixture, I think. West Ham come off a 3-1 loss against Man City, and even though Robinson's not kept 2 clean sheets against newly promoted teams, he has got attack returns, so he is similar to Pedro Porro in that sense. Even though he don't get a clean sheet, he can get something else as well. Pedro Porro, on the other hand, has Arsenal at home, so that's going to be a very interesting fixture. Obviously, between those 2 teams, it's going to be exciting to watch that after the international break. Got Dan Burn, he's got Wolves away. Didn't really shine bright in game week 3, scoring an own goal. And it is an away fixture for Newcastle, which again doesn't sound that great either. But we have to wait and see. In the midfield 4, we got Saka, who's got Tottenham away. So it's a good, interesting fixture, like I mentioned, playing against Tottenham. see what Arsenal could do after coming off a draw. Let's see if they can bounce back. And next to him, we've got Rodgers, who's got Everton at home. Now, Everton, I don't know if you guys watched it in game week. Well, obviously this game week, but they were winning 2-0, and somehow they lost 3-2 near the end. Utter shock. I don't know what happened with Everton in the later stages of that game, but it looks like they were winning 2-0, and then all of a sudden, Bournemouth come back 3 goals, and they claim all points from Everton. So the Aston Villa game, I do expect Aston Villa to win that game because Everton seem to be in a bit of trouble at the moment, and I'm not sure what they're going to do to get out of it with Sean Dyche, because they seem to be struggling this season so far. For the rest of the midfield, we've got Diego Jota and Mo Salah, who both have Nottingham Forest at home. I'm actually going to put the captain over Mo Salah just for hindsight, because he most likely will be my captain for Game Week 4 when obviously it happens. But yeah, it's a nice fixture at Anfield as well, so I do expect another clean sheet for Liverpool. They're looking very strong in all parts of the team, and new manager, new play style. I'd like to have a look at it. Liverpool probably the best team I've enjoyed watching so far this season. Moving up front, we've got Watkins, who has Everton at home. We've spoken about Watkins' minutes, how it's been managed with Emery, because obviously he is rotating with Duran a lot now, and Duran's getting some minutes where Watkins is probably playing an hour and then coming off. We have to see whether that's going to keep happening, or whether Watkins gets his 90 minutes back or not, and that will depend on whether he's a viable asset to go for, because he isn't really up to where we saw him last season, where he was scoring 2 or 3 goals in games. We often see him do really well, but so far he's had an assist and not really much after that. So the Everton at home game is pretty good for any Aston Villa asset, but I'm hoping Watkins can find his good form again for that game. Moving on, we've got Muniz. He's got West Ham at home. So I'm hoping there's a better result rather than the Ipswich one against obviously that fixture. But yeah, I don't know with Muniz now. That's 3 game weeks with no returns, and he's one of my favourites to watch last season as a differential. I'm not sure now on what to do with him. Well, yeah, we have to wait and see. And finally, we've got Isaac, who got Wolves away, so he redeems himself. Obviously, Wolves have a very leaky defence, conceding 6 against Chelsea and drawing against Nottingham Forest. So, yeah, maybe Isaac is a keeper for after all. He does sort of reclaim himself after that Spurs game today. So, yeah, we have to wait and see what Isaac owners do. Has it persuaded you enough for him to score that goal to keep him in your teams? And quickly on the bench, we've got Vardy, Marston, Gordon's on the bench, Davies, I've got Brighton away, Konza's got Nottingham Forest at home. So yeah, this team is not completely finalised, guys. If you're wondering why Gordon's on the bench, it's just how the team's been laid out for me. I haven't altered it or changed it in any way. I've only changed where obviously the captain is now on Salah. But I will have a long think over these 2 weeks whether I decide to use the wild card. But it's early days. I'm thinking of using the wild card soon, guys. I don't know if it's going to be Game Week 4, but it might be Game Week 4. We have to wait and see. I'm glad we have these 2 weeks to think about it, but I'm going to prepare a team for you guys, and I will make a video on it to show you what my wildcard team would look like if I was to do it in Game Week 4. But early days, there's 2 weeks to think about it. It's international break, so anything can change from there onwards, especially with injuries and whatnot. I might throw a spanner in the works in terms of the wildcard. But before, obviously, we continue with this stream, like Tricky Trees, hit that like button. Obviously, for those in the chat, hit that like button. Subscribe for more as well. Leave a comment in the comment section if you wish. If you want to join our league, The league code is below me in the overlay. It's also in the video description as well, if you want to join that too and compete with the other players in it, see if you can win the league. But yeah, that is obviously what my team is currently, and possibly a wild card in the future is on the horizon. Let me just read a few of your rest of the comments, guys, before obviously we end the stream, because I believe that is pretty much it. Roman Jarvis says, then again, I do already have Palmer, so maybe not Madueke. Bailey got injured, which is annoying. What about maybe Mikalenko, Angus White to Fies, and possibly Eze or in Burma to free up more money at 7 million? I think in Burma is a good shout. He did really well against Southampton this week as well, especially. And I think he's another player that was on the look, I think, for that fixture, especially with Tony now gone to obviously gone to Saudi. So he's no longer in the Premier League anymore. And he was there with his teammates on the day. Obviously wish farewell. But in Burma now becomes a great option now that Tony is no longer there anymore. I mean, he scored 2 goals against Southampton, and Brentford gone to win that game 3-1. Yes, he has Man City and Tottenham next, but after that, he does have nice fixtures. But then again, that Man City game, they do concede 1 or 2 goals here and there, and Brentford do give Man City a bit of trouble. They have done in the past. So I wouldn't rule out that fixture, if I'm honest. Even the Spurs one, they have a leaky defence. I mean, Burma looked really good in that Southampton game the other day. So yeah, I'll probably go for the Burma move to free up more money at 7 million. I think that's a good steal for the quality player he is for Brentford, especially now the main man. You've only got Wisdom and Burma really as options up front now. Dan the man says, so unlucky with Burn. Pope really should have grasped the ball. Yeah, it kind of was like a mistake, I guess. If Pope did catch the ball properly, then maybe that didn't end up being an own goal for Dan Burn, but that's a bit unfortunate. Obviously, luck for us Burn owners. Although it could have been much worse. Burn could have had a negative. He did end up on 0 points. Obviously, that's for Roman in the chat. Ezra, 82 points with Isaac Wood, Eze, no Haaland, Captain Salah, happy with that. Yeah, I think with non-Haaland owners, if you did captain Salah, you're pretty much safe and good this week. It was just me not captaining Salah that has put my rank a bit in the mud and has set me back a little bit more, as I didn't get the captaincy right, because obviously I picked my knees. Has made me think about rethinking who I captain. Instead of going for players that have a good fixture with a mixture of bad form, I rather should go for a safe pick instead, and obviously work around the team around that. Obviously, that captain, I should have really captained Salah for the Man United game, but yeah, that could have gone either way. I think it could have been it could have been a bad result, but ended up being good. Kevish in the chat got Haaland. Do I sell Saka and Madueke for Salah and Winks? So you got Haaland. You want to sell Saka and Madueke for Salah? I definitely would sell Saka for Salah, I think. Because Tottenham away versus Nottingham Forest at home. I think Salah, yeah. I'll definitely do Saka to Salah. Madueke though for Winks, I don't know if I'd do that. I just want to check how much Madueke is, because I'd rather bring another player over Winks around that price. Let me just check how much Madueke is. So he's 6.6 Madueke. You know what I'd rather do instead, Kevish? I'd rather bring in Matoma for Madueke. You're also saving a bit of money as well. Actually, no, you're not saving a bit of money, but you got another option as an attacking player to get a possible return. I'm not sure about Winks with Leicester. That's a viable option at 4.5 million. You're saving money, yes, but I think I'd rather bring in a midfielder that's going to return you a few points. And I think Matoma, who has a nice fixture against Ipswich at home, Could be the way forward. He's got a goal and assist so far this season. And home fixture for Brighton. I do like him as an option. He's 7.5% owned as well, so he's a nice differential. Obviously, that will change near the time, but yeah, I'd rather go Madueke for Matoma and Saka for Salah. Michael says, Zucadine a bad pick? No, not necessarily. He does take free kicks, Zucadine. And sometimes corners. I mean, between him and Konza, though, what's the price difference between them? Because I think you might as well go for Konza. He's 4.5 million. How much is Luca Dean? Well, actually, Luca Dean's 4.5 million, so they're both same price. But yeah, I mean, he did get an assist to Luca Dean against Leicester, so maybe he shows a bit of attacking threat. I didn't realize Luca Dean was 4.5 million, which that seems pretty good. Actually, he's not a bad pick. I'll go back on that, Michael. He might be a good pick to go for. If he does show a bit of attacking threat like he did against Leicester, then he does have nice fixtures along the horizon. Might be a way to go. Different over, like, say, Konza. But yeah, there is a slight rotation. But I think I'll go Konza with the safe pick. Would you rather have in Burma or Eze for the next two? Well, I think I would have Eze for the next two because of the fixtures that obviously in Burma has Man City and then Tottenham. Tricky ones for him. I wouldn't say he wouldn't score in them because he might nick one goal in there. But I'm just going on what the fixtures look like for both players, and I think Eze has a slight advantage over that because he's got Leicester at home and then Man United at home. So two nice fixtures at home for Eze. And you saw how Man United were playing today. Absolutely lost. And no structure, no teamwork. Just 11 separate minds on the pitch. Crystal Palace could have a good game for the next two. So yeah, I think Eze, the one for me. He also did do well today against Chelsea, scoring the goal. So yeah, I think Eze for the next two. I didn't see the game, but Madueke had a good XG today. Yeah, I didn't really watch the Chelsea game, but I don't know. I don't think we'd be speaking about Madueke if he didn't score that hat trick against Wolves. So I think he'll just be a player that we'd never mention, even though his XG was good today. I think he'll just be a player. We would be probably talking about Palmer right now or Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea, but because he scored that hat trick against Wolves, he has become a big talking point. Again, he's still wait and see for me. If he can continue this similar sort of pattern in terms of returns, apart from that hat trick, then maybe that might persuade me to as a viable option as a Chelsea player. But at the moment, it seems to be Palmer now who would sway me to go for him instead. Because Palmer did get another assist today, even though Chelsea only scored one goal. He did assist Nicholas Jackson. And yeah, Danaman says, looking good now. Leicester at home, Man United at home, and Everton away. 3 good fixtures there and a bargain. I totally agree with that. Michael says, would you rather have Isaac or João Pedro? I think if I didn't have either one of those players right now, I think I'd go for João Pedro. Brighton have looked much better than Newcastle have, and considering Newcastle play away next, and they never look good away. Brighton, on the other hand, have looked good both home and away. They played really well against Arsenal. That draw was a good result for them. That's the best result they can get, I think. because it's not easy beating Arsenal at the Emirates. So that's a good achievement for Brighton and the manager as well. Only 2 game weeks now for him for the club, and it seems like he's been there like he has been with Zerbi. So I'm liking the structure of Brighton this season. They're looking like good contenders and have built up a lot of chemistry and teamwork between them. So I would rather have João Pedro. So I believe he's on penalties too, if I'm not mistaken. Powerstorm says who to keep, Muniz or Isaac? I'll probably keep Isaac against Wolves away because they have a leaky defense, like mentioned in the chat. A few of you have mentioned that, and they also did get conceded 6 against Chelsea. So Newcastle away, though, it's not a great fixture, but it is one they can possibly score goals in. Whether they win or lose it or draw it, that's another question. But I do see goal involvement from that, and maybe that comes from Isaac again. Because it looks like he has found his shooting boots finally against Spurs. By getting that winning goal, that's a bit of a boost, I think, for himself and the players around him. So at this moment, Muniz hasn't returned yet. That's his 3rd blank this game week, and he's becoming a bit of an issue. Because I might give him one more chance against West Ham at home. We'll see. But after that, I don't think I'd keep him. But if I had to choose, it would have to be Isaac I keep. I wouldn't be keeping Muniz, I don't think. Surely Palmer is a top 3 premium mid for the next 3. I would say so, yeah. Yeah, Palmer's been outstanding. I'll just bring him up because he is unreal for Chelsea. I don't know what it is, but it just works. It just works for Palmer. I mean, first game he's got Man City, fair enough, he blanks, but gets a 17-pointer against Wolves, getting 3 assists and 1 goal. And even gets an assist in this game week against Crystal Palace from the only goal Chelsea scored. 10.6 million price. I think that's paying off already. If he can continue that run out of the price he's at, yeah, I think he's worth it. Because Saka, on the other hand, yes, he's had returns, but it hasn't been as much as Palmer. And yeah, Saka is a little bit cheaper at 10.1. Saka's had 3 assists and 1 goal. Palmer's got that in 1 game. And Arsenal had tougher fixtures. They got Tottenham, then Man City. And obviously the fixtures do change a bit for 3 game weeks, but then it becomes more tricky again. So yeah, Arsenal have a bit of a good and bad sort of run-in. But Chelsea, on the other hand, have a good run of fixtures that you could possibly target. Like they've got Bournemouth next, West Ham, Brighton, Nottingham Forest. And yeah, after game week 7, it does get a bit heavy for Chelsea in terms of fixtures, where they have Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal after each other. So I think in the next few, Palmer is the top 2 mid. Michael says, would you swap Mbeumo to Eze for next 2, knowing you would wildcard in 6? Would you swap Mbeumo to Eze for next 2? I think I would. Yeah. If I was working from the fixtures, I think I would do that. Because there is a fixture swing, and realistically, Mbeumo shouldn't return in the next 2, but Eze should. Because Eze has better 2 home fixtures against Leicester, Man United, where Mbeumo has Man City. Be lucky to score 1, and if it is from Mbeumo, that's another question. And also Tottenham. Yeah, they have a leaky defence, but they weren't letting that many goals. They will concede, but they weren't letting many. So Mbeumo's chances of scoring are much lower compared to Eze's, I think, where he has Leicester and Man United. And we obviously see Man United today against Liverpool. It's a mess, especially that defence, the attack. It's non-existent. Man United were actually scared of attacking Liverpool at some stages in that game. So I would favour the Mbeumo to Eze swap for next 2. And then the wild card in 6 looks pretty good as well. Power Storm says, is selling Moniz better or roll my transfer? If you mean this, I probably would. Well, for Game Week 4, obviously wait and see because we're in an international break at the moment. So anything would happen from 2 weeks from now because there could be injuries popping up and flags coming here and there. So, but off the top of my head, if I had to sell Moniz better or roll a transfer, I'll probably sell Moniz. I think. Yeah, I think I would sell Moniz after the obviously this break. I don't think I would keep him. I mean, I'm contemplating keeping it Moniz myself and a few other players in the team because I'm half sure on them with what they will do in Game Week 4 for me and if it's going to be enough. And you said wildcard in 6 and bring him back. Oh, I see what you mean now. Yes, wildcard in 6 and bring obviously Burma back. Yeah, that could be a way to go forward because Burma has a nice fixture in Game Week 6, as mentioned, obviously. So yeah, that could be a nice avenue to go down. Because obviously in Game Week 6, he does have a nice fixture against West Ham at home. And the fixture swing does go back to being easy for in Burma. Do you think Estupinian will be back next game week? Honestly, I'm not sure. I kind of missed Estupinian as being a very good option as an attacking wing back, but now it just seems like, I mean, he didn't even start against Everton or Man United in game week 1 or 2, and he only played 18 minutes against Arsenal. Honestly, I don't think he'll come back or start. And if he does, I don't think he'll play enough minutes to keep a clean sheet. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, it's like Watkins. Will he come back to play 90 minutes? Or will he rotate with Duran for around 60 minutes? But yeah, guys, I think that about wraps most of this up for Game Week 3. Now, obviously, we have the international break now for 2 weeks, so we don't resume until, I believe, September the 14th, when obviously fantasy football and Premier League football return. But beforehand, obviously, there will be content for us to deliver. Obviously, the potential wildcard. We will make a video on wildcard, what a team would look like for Game Week 4, possibly because I'm thinking about or contemplating doing it. So definitely tune in for that video whenever that will be, but it is in the pipework, and obviously the original transfer tips, team selection, and the deadline stream will follow, obviously nearer the time when Game Week 4 is on the horizon. But I think it's nice to have a little break, even though we're only in the third game week of the season. It is pretty weird having the international break so early on, but I guess it relieves more pressure later on in the season where the fixtures become more congested. But yeah, we'll see how this new regime goes, this new schedule that they've obviously organised. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. It's always appreciated for all your comments in the chat and your questions. And do like this video. Obviously, subscribe for more. Make sure your notifications are turned on so it lets you know when the next video is up and running for our streams. And also leave a comment if you wish in the section. We obviously will read them and respond to them and give them a like too. But I think that's it for now. I can't say when we'll be back for the next stream, but it will be momentarily soon. Possibly that'll be the wildcard video where I possibly give you a draft on what it will look like. But until then, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you very soon for the next video. But until then, enjoy your evening, day, or morning.